So how to actually get better at trading, right? Now the real title is Trading It's Easy and We're All Fucking Stupid. And you'll realize why I say that, right, as the PowerPoint goes on. Okay, I really think that the focus of everyone in today's day especially is all wrong, right? We're all focused on the monetary goal, on sort of like, oh, I'm just going to put in X amount of years doing this, that, and the other. But what I've really come to realize, even in my journey, trading 5 years now, I'm realizing maybe years that were wasted and things that I did were just sort of irrelevant. It made me really realize what processes and what things I actually focused on and the real reasons why I was able to bridge the gap and actually generate better returns on a monthly basis. So my promise, okay, by the end of this video is that you're going to know the exact process required to actually get better at trading. Okay, so let's have a look at the content. So there's 6 points here. Number one is the makeup of a profitable trader. Okay, second is becoming process oriented. This is something that's crazy overlooked, and you'll see why. Even myself, someone else actually mentioned this to me, and once this individual actually mentioned this to me, I had a complete paradigm shift on my entire thinking towards trading or any success goal in general. Okay, then I'm going to actually give you what you should be tracking, and then from that I give 3 other points around technical analysis, psychology, and self-image. So let's have a look. What is the actual makeup of a profitable trader? So let's make myself a bit smaller here. So these 7 points, in my personal opinion, are what is necessary to essentially round you as a complete and able trader. Okay, so first of all, we'll start with strong technicals. Now, most of you guys coming into my YouTube channel will be ICT traders. So strong technicals means you can hop on the chart, you can see the order block, you can see the breaker block, you can see all these sort of PV arrays. You are able to read daily bias, you have a good drawn liquidity. Okay, those sorts of things, right? Intermarket relationships is all about being able to see DXY and its relation towards the rest of the market, right? Understanding the relationships with different markets, maybe gold and silver, looking at SMT divergence, and even looking at stuff like UCAD in comparison to oil. Okay, psychology, right? You have the 3 big, or I'd say main poisons in trading, which is over leveraging, FOMO, and fear of missing out. Okay, those are the 3 issues I always notice with new traders, and those are sort of like the 3 biggest issues that people need to come over. We have correct belief system. I'll talk about that later on. Then we have fundamentals knowledge. That one I'm not really going to supply too much knowledge on, as it's something that I believe is probably my biggest weakness out of all of these 7 points. So I'm not going to deep dive into that too much. We also then have trading plan and process and trading model, right? Your trading plan, okay, if you don't have one, then I don't know what you're doing at this point. Trading plan and process is basically your written out process from A to Z in terms of what you're doing when you first get onto the market. What is your preparation? What are your aims? What do you want to see in the market? What is your criteria? Okay, once you have your criteria, what is your next step in your process? Is it the entry model? Is it this? Is it that? You need to have a plan written out, even in terms of how you come to the market, even what you do before you get in front of the charts, right? What is your preparation process, right? If you're battling against all these other ruthless traders, right? People who are putting in the work day in, day out and trying to get better at this skill, then what are you doing to actually improve your ability to come out on top, right? We know the stats. We know 99%, well not 99%, but around 98% of traders fail in this industry. So what are you doing to get that 1% edge? And then trading model, okay, would be directly related to your technical ability. So you're going to use your technicals to actually form some sort of model. It is sort of overlapping with the plan and the process, but the model itself, the way I look at it is like you're going to have like an image that you built out, and you're going to talk about, or not talk about, but you're going to create an image around what your trading strategy actually looks like. So a very simplified version of it. Okay, so what I'd say you should do, okay, is in all these 7 areas, you should actually go ahead and rank yourself. Then with the trading plan and process, right, even if you don't have a plan or a process, you need to evaluate if you're actually coming to the market and doing the same thing over and over again. Okay, so are you coming to the market with a specific process, and are you executing that? And the way you'll actually see if you're good at, or you're rank yourself high in that category, is based on whether you're actually following the process that you've set yourself out to complete. Okay, and with the trading model, again, with the 5 stars thing, you're going to rank yourself based on how simple your model is, how well you know your model, if you can recall it without needing to look at it, how sort of in depth do you know what you're looking for, and all that sort of stuff. So number 2, what should you actually be tracking in the market? So here on the left is the daily report card. Now, I'd say my personal opinion, I pretty much owe, I'd say about 90% of my improvement in my trading to this document, right? This was given to a previous mentor of mine. This was given to me by a previous mentor of mine, and I've used it ever since, right? So it's made up with 4 different titles. Okay, we have the pre-market game plan, which are the pairs that you're looking at and going to be focusing on in the current session. We have intra-session, okay, which you're going to be documenting your thoughts and feelings throughout the day, which obviously you're going to revisit. And then you have the post-session part, which is reviewing your intra-session notes and evaluating what actually happened during the day. And this is the key point where you can improve. Okay, this is a big thing in trading, right? Where people don't understand that if you don't have everything written out in front of you, if you're not logging what you're doing on a day-to-day basis, all that chart time, just staring in front of the chart's not actually going to get you that far in trading, right? Chart time is important, but it will only take you so far. Okay, you probably don't have a photographic memory. You're not going to remember everything you've ever done on the charts and then being able to sort of build upon that knowledge. You need to document. You have to create processes for yourself to actually be able to log your progress in trading. Okay, and at the bottom we have probably the most important part of this report card, which is the performance review. This is where you're going to go through, ask yourself how you performed and rank yourself. You're going to write if you missed any A+ setups, so that goes back to the trading plan and process. You need to know what your A+ criteria is, why you've missed that, right? That question alone has solved so many issues in my trading, right? If you have a system and you're not taking the setups, then you should know why, right? Then you're going to look at if you've taken any low quality trades, and again, what's the reason? Is it because you've got greedy? Is it because you've been fearful? Okay, and then right at the bottom, did I make any mistakes that I can improve upon? Okay, that's another key thing. You always need to look at what you're doing to progress yourself further. What is it that you did before, and what can you do to sort of re-engineer that and change that idea so that you can replace something that you're doing bad with something better. Okay, so I will create these daily and I'll log again all these steps and do a performance review. And then what I'll do at the end of the week is I'll review these and then I'll compile them into a weekly document, and I'll ask myself the same questions. I'll do a performance review, a bit more of an extended review on how I review myself, grade myself, all that good stuff. And then as well, you can take it a step further and you can actually do a monthly performance review as well. Okay, the other key thing that you need to be logging, and I've noticed a lot of people don't do this, is you should be logging every single trade you take, and you need to assess whether it's part of your plan. If you're not logging your trades, you're not going to progress. I don't know one profitable trader that doesn't log their trades. If you can't do this, then there's no point trading whatsoever. So next, becoming process orientated. Okay, now this is like a bit of epiphany that I had recently, and I'd say this really shifted my mindset and my sort of frame of mind when coming to attacking any goal that I've ever sort of been interested in pursuing. Now, the first thing is, what is your written goal? Now, if you don't have a written goal, you're absolutely crazy. You need to go ahead and write your goal on paper. And if you don't know why, go and research that, right? The power of having a written goal is insane, right? A good guide to look at that or look at information around that is Bob Proctor. If you don't have a goal written down, you do not know what you're looking to do in life. So your goal should not be monetary, in my opinion, right? And you'll see why I say this in a minute. Your goal should not be 10K a month or $1 million in prop firm money, okay? Actually think about the process and actions that you need in order to follow to reach the goal that you're looking to reach, right? I know this sounds like common sense. I know you're probably thinking like, why the hell is he talking about this? This is common sense, right? But you know, they say common sense ain't that common, right? And it's true, because everyone is saying like, cool, I want to make 10K a month, right? If I just show up to the charts, London and New York, I'll make it, right? It's not true. But you need to figure out, what actions do I actually need to take to become profitable, right? And I'll give you an example at the bottom here. If you fill out daily report cards every week for the next 104 weeks, okay, I'll guarantee you become profitable. Okay, that is a better goal to have. And the reason why it's actually going to work, okay, and the logic behind it is that in the daily report cards, you're reviewing what you're doing wrong, what you can improve, how you can actually get better on a week-to-week basis. So you know with those daily report cards that over a long period of time, you're actually going to improve your trading and get better at what you're actually trying to improve. For example, you might do all this process and understand that you have a psychological issue, okay? You have one of the 3 poisons of trading, which I'm going to talk about in a second. You might realize that your edge, you can't even follow the edge. You can't even follow your rule set, okay? But the point is that if you just keep showing up to the chart and not actually evaluating your process, what you're doing in front of the charts, then you're not really going to get anywhere, right? You might be better than some who end up quitting. Yeah, okay, cool. But if you're just blindly staring at the charts day in, day out, not knowing what you're actually doing to improve, then nothing's really going to happen for you, okay? So the key lesson in this is is to actually think about the process and actions you need in order to reach the goal. Stop actually focusing on the monetary goal itself, okay? So take the data you've collected and reflect upon it, mark out your mistakes, errors, and attack them the following week, right? That's another big thing. Every week, so at the end of my performance review, I actually log and document what am I looking to do the following week to actually get better. So number 4, improving technical analysis has diminishing returns. So I'm actually going to assume here that by absorbing a lot of my content, like my stuff on Instagram, you'd probably already have your technical analysis stat maxed out. Okay, your ability to read technical analysis is probably already pretty good. Obviously, you can always improve. Okay, but believe me, this is something that I had a bit of an addiction for. I loved learning new stuff. I loved focusing on what ICT was talking about next, all that good stuff. But it only will take you so far, right? And like I said, it has diminishing returns. What that means is past the point, the more technical analysis you learn, it's only going to improve your trading by a fraction, okay? And if your technical analysis ability is already quite high, then you need to bring up all those other attributes, right? It's like you're here and you need to bring up, let's say, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 points that I mentioned before. So what I'm trying to get at is that it's most likely your technical analysis ability isn't the thing that's stopping you from getting where you want to get to, okay? So there's a time in your journey where you need to stop learning new stuff. You probably heard this before, but it's definitely true. And you actually need to focus on developing and honing the edge that you currently have, okay? Now that edge, right, if simplified, okay, is easily scalable. And this is the thing that I had an issue with, okay? Because, for example, I come from quite an academic background. I always believed complexity is better. The more complicated you make things, the better it is. But realistically, okay, if you was to sit back, trade a very simple model, okay, it's better on the psychology, okay, it's better on the mind, it's better all around, okay? Now, I'm not saying you can't have elements of complexity in there. I still believe that my model does have areas where it's quite highly technical, okay? But my process of actually coming in front of the charts, being able to sit down and know what my model is, I can recall very easily, okay? So if you haven't done this already, your next step then is to create a trading plan and model. And this is my trade plan simplified, pretty much, right? Number one will be evaluate the economic calendar. I want to see the potential route of the weekly candle, okay, and how that is likely to unfold. I'm then going to look for my drawn liquidity. Then next, I'm going to look at, has liquidity been taken in the opposite direction to my bias? Where can I pair my orders? So for example, if liquidity is taken on the sell side, then where can I look to pair the longs that I'm looking to get in with willing buyers above liquidity or in some sort of fair value? So that's basically just my target in simple terms. Then I'm making sure I'm inside of a power of 3, whether that be on the daily H4, H1. I'll need my daily cycle framework, so I have a list of cycles that I've come up with, and the trade would need to coincide with one of them. And then pretty much just the entry model, right, which again is very simple. And you'll notice I put that at the end because a lot of people over glorify the entry model. The entry model should be very simple, very easy. The thing I love about daily bias, and you'll see from the last video with the daily bias course, is that the daily bias does all the heavy lifting for you, to the point where your entry can be quite sloppy, but you're still going to end up being profitable. And then at the end there, I've written watch out for roadblocks, which is basically like opposing FEGs, to make sure that my trade has a smooth run to its take profit. Next up is psychology, and I've written here psychology is misunderstood. Now, like I said, we have the 3 poisons in trading, right? You have revenge trading, you have fear of missing out, and you have over leveraging. Okay, if you struggle with these, then in my personal opinion, you're still a beginner in the psychology realm. All right, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? It might even be that you're 3-4 years in and you've realized that you still haven't got some of these out of your system. Okay, but the key fix, or the easiest fix for them that I've seen, is literally you come to the market, you show up, right? It doesn't have to be for 3 months, it could be 1-2 months, but you literally just come up to the market, you show up, you log, you document, you do everything as per usual. The only thing you don't do is you don't execute on the trades. Okay, I know that sounds crazy. Some of you are going to think it's a waste of time, but trust me, it's one of those things where it's 3 steps forward and 5 steps. 3 steps backwards, 5 steps forward. Okay, so revenge trading, fear of missing out, over leveraging are things that you need to tackle first, right? The reason why this works, okay, with doing the whole 3 months thing, is that you're going to be able to sit there, you're going to be able to let trades go, okay, because obviously you're not actually trading any of them, so your fear of missing out goes. The other thing is because you're watching the trades go, then you're not going to be inclined to revenge trade, because for 3 months straight, you've watched trades go past and you haven't had any inclination to actually need or want to take a trade. And then the last one is over leveraging. Over leveraging typically comes as a result of wanting to rush to make profit in the market. But if you've sat there for 3 months and not taken anything, you shouldn't really be impatient anymore. Okay, so for the beginnerish type people, that would be the best course of action. But for you guys who maybe are a bit more advanced, okay, trading psychology is all about that deep dive into who you are. Okay, you really need to gain that awareness about who you are as an individual, what your insecurities are. And you need to just explore your psychological makeup. Like, who are you as an individual? What are your beliefs about money? What are your beliefs about yourself? A lot of the time you're over leveraging because you want to make money, because you want to buy this car to impress other people that don't give a shit about you. See what I mean? So you really need to look into yourself as an individual and try and identify, like, what is it that you're doing wrong and why are you doing it? Okay, for example, look at it like this: what is causing your impulses as an individual? And fundamentally, you need to view those impulses as an addiction. Okay, so if it's an addiction, then you need to point out the triggers that are making you want to do this impulse that is essentially a detriment to your trading, and then you can go ahead and fix that issue. So lastly, let's have a look at the self-image. Right? I've written here, you'll never go beyond your self-image. Okay, so you can never outperform your level of self-image / esteem. You can actually rise to this level. So you might be someone who puts in the work, you might be showing up, you might be logging all your trades, but you just seem to maybe be hitting a brick wall. Okay, and it's most likely down to the self-image. Now, I know a lot of people will sort of be against this idea. You'll be sort of thinking, oh, what's this got to do with it? If I just put the work in, I'm going to get there. But funnily enough, it doesn't seem to work that simply, right? Success has a level of metaphysical, spiritual side to it. And that is something that you do have to hone, whether you like it or not. Now, some people will be doing it unconsciously. Some people are going to be doing it consciously. And that's just down to luck, right? But in reality, you want to make sure that you're on the side of being conscious, okay? So you don't actually run into issues later down the line. So your subconscious mind is the single biggest goal achieving mechanism on the planet. What does that mean? If you put an idea in your brain, an idea that you'd want to achieve, your subconscious mind, so the dormant part of your mind, is going to work overtime to figure out how to achieve that goal. If you think about in history, if you think about any goal a human has had, it all first starts with an idea in their mind, right? So let's say, for example, these skyscrapers that we see in Dubai, for example, someone would have envisioned these tall buildings, whether it's in Dubai, whether it's in London, and then gone ahead and built the tools necessary to actually achieve that, right? Another one you could do is like medical advances or the light bulb, right? All these different things first started with a belief, but it started with the idea that the individual who wanted to achieve the goal actually believed that they could achieve the goal that they were set out to do. So fundamentally, if your beliefs about yourself aren't synonymous with your goals, you won't be able to reach the desired destination, because your subconscious mind can only do what you believe it can do, if that makes sense. So if you don't believe in yourself and your idea that you can actually get to this goal that you have in mind, if you're always worried, anxious, or have these sort of negative thoughts, then your subconscious mind isn't going to be able to access or achieve the goal that you have in mind, okay? So how do we actually fix the self-image, right? There's a couple ways. There's multiple sort of ways you can go about doing it. But I always narrow it down to two things. It's via the physical reality and the metaphysical reality. Now you have the physical reality, and the fix is fairly simple. You need to go and do things that your rich self would do, right? It's very surface level. But what you need to understand is if you're going to change your self-identity, then you actually need to go ahead and change the idea inside your brain of how you actually feel about yourself. Okay, so for example, your rich self might be someone that goes to the gym. But if you go to the gym, get the physique that you like, get the confidence around looking a certain way, then that would be something that your abundant and rich self would do. Another one might be going out to nice hotels, restaurants. You don't necessarily have to pay for them, but you might just go out there and hang about in those areas. There's lots of rich places in like London that you can go to that you don't actually have to pay for. And that in yourself, where you'll be surrounded by rich and abundant, affluent people, it will inevitably raise your self-image, right? Now, on the other flip side of that, you have the metaphysical, right? And where I've written here, visualization. Now, visualization is essentially where you close your eyes and you will visualize yourself as the person that you want to be, as the person that you're aiming to be, but in the present moment. Okay, now the power of visualization is something that is documented throughout history. All the greats, all the top athletes or conquerors have all used this idea of visualization to benefit themselves and strive forwards towards their goal, right? So the way it actually works, or the reason it actually works, is because when you close your eyes and you think about yourself in a scenario, right? I'll give you an example. Let's say you're pissed off or angry with someone. In your mind, when you're thinking about being angry or annoyed with this person, you're actually reliving the moment in your mind. Okay, your mind cannot tell the difference between a thought in your brain and physical reality. So when you think these thoughts of being angry with someone or being pissed off with, or even being happy, right? You're actually reliving the moment in your mind. So when you actually do go ahead and visualize yourself as this individual, your subconscious, your brain doesn't know the difference between you right now and you, the person who you're visualizing. So in an essence, your subconscious mind then can act as what it's supposed to do, that goal achieving mechanism to go ahead and actually help you achieve the goal that you're looking to achieve. Now, if you want a book around this idea, I'd purchase the book Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz. That's the book that I read. He gives tons of different studies around visualization, the power of self-image. He talks about salesmen who literally just had a mindset shift and went from making a couple thousand to tens of thousands monthly. He also talks, this was a really cool study that I listened to, where he mentioned piano players, right? So he was saying that they had 50 people play the piano, right, and practice week on, week out. And then they actually had 50 people who, believe it or not, in their mind practiced playing piano. Okay, and at the end of the study, the people who actually visualized playing the piano in their mind had actually gained as much experience as the people who actually played the piano, which I know sounds crazy, but that's literally how it works. So yeah, definitely check that book out if you haven't. So that actually concludes the end of the video. I hope you guys gained some value. A quick plug on my stuff. I actually went ahead and created a course for every single part of what I believed was the complete trader, other than the fundamentals part, as I don't really consider myself that knowledgeable on that area. Okay, here's the course content if you're curious. Hopefully you guys are actually now equipped with a process that you can go ahead and do on a daily basis, a weekly basis, and a monthly basis to actually measure and track your trading. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and catch you guys in the next one.